Thanks, Paul. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate it. Great to report update on Brett Walsh from our medical team. He has no structural injuries, and we expect him to make a full return to football activities. He's going to be treated and assessed by our athletic training staff and our doctors on a daily basis. So I don't have a timeline on his return to play, but that's all just excellent news and a joy for me to report. Second of all, with Matt being out from play right now, we decided to name a fifth captain going into last weekend, and that fifth captain moving forward will be C.J. Robbins. He was the next highest vote getter, very close actually to being one of our captains coming out of camp. We're honored to have CJ take on that responsibility and that role, even though he was not named a captain prior to this weekend. He has definitely assumed that role and responsibility, and he did a great job over the weekend, and expect him to continue to assist the other four captains in that responsibility. Our players of the week, offensively, Austin Carr, just an outstanding game again. Had a career high in three touchdown receptions on Saturday. Just really playing at a high level right now, and we had him open a few other times and missed him, but had a great game. Justin Jackson was our big playmaker, 171 yards. A great job making their safety miss on the 58-yard touchdown run. He's now fourth all-time in our program history in career rushing yards, and that's something spectacular with a lot of football left in his career. Defensively, our player of the week was Afadio Denebo, also the Big Ten co-defensive player of the week. Had an outstanding football game, was very active, and look forward to that continuing on as the season goes along if we want to be successful. But a great game by Afadi, probably the best game of his career. Big playmaker was Joe Jones. Joe was very active in the game, and it was great to see him have that type of success. Special teams-wise, again, was Flynn Nagel, big punt return. Did a great job securing all catches and playing really well. Practice player of the week was Cole Johnson on offense, Joe Bergen defensively, and Patty Fisher on special teams. Those guys are doing a really good job. A little bit of a, adjusted week per se. We'll give the varsity guys that have played a bunch of reps off their legs through Wednesday. They'll be in the weight room doing some things cardio-wise, non-impact cardio. We'll get back to practice on Thursday and Friday, and then we'll practice the younger guys that maybe aren't getting as many reps. 4 days this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'll take the day off on Saturday, be fans, tailgate, enjoy some football, and then back into a normal game week on Sunday. Coaches are out on the road recruiting. I'll leave first thing in the morning, be out for 3 days this week, and then back in rock and roll and getting practices going. So with that, how about some questions, please?
Pat, even though you knew Austin was going to be in the mix, could you have anticipated him having the kind of season he's having?
Dave, he's off to a great start. I think it's twofold. I think, number one, it's the maturation of Clayton. I think he's much more confident back there. I thought Clayton did a terrific job moving in the pocket, especially on third down. When I was running kind of the radar scheme where all the D linemen are up walking around, they do a really good job with that. They change it up week to week. I thought he did a really good job. Clayton did, helping our offensive line by moving in the pocket. And then, we were able to, I think, through some scheme things here throughout the first half of the year, be able to get Austin in some one-on-one situations. We haven't been successful 100% of the time, either by protection, he's been covered, or we missed some throws. But with that being said, I think he's off to a terrific start, no doubt about that. But could I have anticipated it? No, I don't think so.
Coach, I think you've won 6 out of your last 7 true road games. Why do you think you guys have been so successful on the road the last year and a half?
Well, I think we do a good job preparing our guys for playing on the road. I think our plan is not unique maybe just to us, but one that I research quite a bit on what people do when they play on the road, and I think we do a pretty good job with that. I think anytime you play on the road, it's critically important that you start fast. I think it's really hard. I watched the Sunday night football game last night, first NFL game I've watched, and Pittsburgh gets off to that fast start and Kansas City can never make it up. You know what I mean? I think as a road team, it's really important that you start the battle the right way. And then that home team's going to respond, especially in an environment like we were in Kinnick, and Iowa did a nice job, and I don't think our guys flinched. I think we responded pretty well. But I think you typically play based on the way that you prepare, and I think that the guys did a good job preparing last week.
Vince Karanik had about maybe 5 or 6 targets. Is his increasing involvement in the passing game just from his maturation, or is it was it a specific game plan against Iowa to get him targets? Or
Yeah, no, just the scheme. I mean, again, first of all, he was open, so that helps. Number two, just Clayton going through his progression. Yeah, I don't know how many exact guys we played number-wise receiver. But I think it's double digits, or pretty darn close. Double-digit guys that we're rolling through, maybe 8 or so, and then you include the superbacks. We're playing quite a few guys out there, and Ben's just one of the guys in the rotation. And to see him continuing to come on was really good. I mean, he probably has a touchdown if Clayton doesn't overthrow the one shot in the red zone. So, he's got a bright future. He's playing well. He's a big guy. He's got to continue to get stronger. He's got to continue to play to his size, but I think he's off to a pretty good start for a true freshman.
Coach, what has Ifeadi meant to you both on the field and then you mentioned off the field he delivered kind of that sermon or whatever?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, I mean, I just think that Ifeadi's been through a lot. Comes in with unrealistic hype. I mean, that's the nature of recruiting these days. I mean, I think it's that blessing and the curse that you get from the .com sites in recruiting, and he had inflated, I think, image from a standpoint of external factors coming in, and he was a guy that only played a couple years of high school football. So learning the game to the extent that he's learned it has been really impressive. I mean, I've really seen a lot of growth, a lot of maturity in his game, and he's been really close a bunch throughout his career, but to have that type of performance, I think, shows not only what he's capable of, but hopefully a snapshot of what we're going to see for the rest of the year. I'm just really proud of his perseverance. He's battled through injuries. I think he's battled through being overhyped, and again, out of his control. But that's a lot to put on a guy's shoulders. And you see it happen throughout the country. I mean, you see a lot of these guys that are whatever, they get the moniker of being a 4 or 5 star guy, and just they keep getting asked, what's wrong? Well, they're learning how to play college football, or they got to get stronger, or, like in Fadi's case, he only played a couple years of high school football. So very proud of him. I'm not surprised. He's been working hard. He had a great week of practice last week. I thought he played very physical too. And I hope it's just a sign of things to come.
But one of the big things that I noticed is all of his sacks came on 3rd and longs. How important is it that you get other teams in that 3rd and long situation? I know that's an area you guys had struggled a little bit earlier in the season. Yeah,
well, it's really important. It's critically important. You got to avoid it as an offense, and you got to put people in it defensively. You're able to do a lot of things coverage-wise and concept-wise when you're in 3rd and long compared to 3rd and short. And that was a byproduct of the way we played in 1st and 2nd down, obviously, stopping the run on Saturday. And, you go back to some of the games early in the year, we had rush lane issues that led to some 3rd and shorts, and then we even got stops on those 3rd and shorts, and now they're 4th and 1, that were a big issue on why we weren't getting off the field. I think our rush lane discipline was improved over the last 3 weeks. I don't think we let Tommy get out against Nebraska as much as we even had the year prior. But Tommy was able to execute some things in the run game. But the last 3 weeks, I think our rush lane discipline on 1st and 2nd down has been much improved, even on 3rd down too.
Coach, I think 3 games since Matt Harris went down. Mm-hmm. How do you think Godwin's done as sort of the leader of the defensive backfield, and where do you think he is right now?
Yeah, well, we're 2-1, I guess, right? So I think I'd rather be 3-0 specifically, but I think Godwin's doing great. I think he's having a terrific season. I think he's been really solid. I mean, he's had more secondary shuffling of the deck than maybe any other safety we've had that I can remember, of how many different guys we're playing in the back end right now. And then we put Alonzo out there in the second half. So I think he's doing a terrific job, playing well.
Coach, 2 questions. On the radar scheme, is that something that Iowa had been doing in previous games? And then number 2, tell me a little bit about Clayton's ability to see that, read that hot blitz, find that hot receiver. Is that is he gaining confidence on that?
Yeah, the first question, yeah, absolutely. They've done it for a couple of years. They do a good job with it. They're very multiple out of what they do out of that concept. And I thought our offensive line did a really good job communicating and getting a hat on a hat now where we perfect fundamentally know. And like I told the squad yesterday, I thought our offensive line against Iowa was solid but not spectacular. I thought that was a solid game by that group, but we were far, far from spectacular. We had, again, some issues of one-man breakdowns in some areas. And we're playing Big Ten football now. That's going to happen. Those guys up front on their side are pretty darn salty. So to think perfection is not realistic, but I thought they were solid. And to see Clayton move in the pocket, I think also really helped the offensive line. When somebody maybe gave up the inside, he was able to slide into the B gap, step up. Did a great job on the 1 4th down play when they max blitzed and was able to get around the outside, made a big play to keep the drive alive. And then Iowa came after us with more pressure than they had anybody else that we had seen, especially in some situational football. And I thought Clayton handled that very well. I thought that he made some good checks of protection. I thought he made some good checks of concepts. And then I think he beat the blitz a couple times. And so I thought he had a really, probably from a standpoint of the big picture of quarterback play, probably had his best game of his career. I think he made some really good decisions from a standpoint of hitting some wide open fans in the stands. They had us covered, and he did a really good job where the week before he took a couple of ill-advised sacks that they covered us, and we had some people wide open in Ryan Field up in the first few rows that he should have completed the balls to. And I think that just shows his maturity. I also think it shows his relationship with Mick. Those were things that they were talking a lot about throughout the early part of the season. And I think Clayton understands it's not always about his completion percentage that matters. It's about making good decisions with the football, and sometimes throwing it away is a good decision with the football. And I was really impressed with what he did that in a hostile environment in Kinnick on Saturday.
Alonzo going in for Montre in the second half, is that something that we can expect to see more?
Well, I know we're going to have competitive situation in the corner position. That's something that we're talking about across the board on our football team. And, we had some mistakes that were made that were coached, and we thought were corrected based on some other plays from earlier games this year, and they were repeated, and that's why we made a change. But the late touchdown or late explosion play that Alonzo gave up is inexcusable. So it's not like that job is solidified for him. We had talked all game that they were going to fake a crack on the safety and go, and it was a half rear end crack. It wasn't even a good crack and go. And to give up that explosive play at that time of the game just shows we have a long way to go in the secondary. And I'm not trying to call Zoe out. He knows. I mean, he owned it when he came over. He goes, Coach, that was a critical mistake. I can't let that happen. And to his credit, he went back out there and competed. But that's, I think, maybe his first game experience too. So, Jerry's earning every nickel he's getting right now, and so is Hank. I mean, we're working our tail off to coach those guys up and get them prepared and keep alerting them to the situations that we're going to see. And the guys just got to keep learning and growing and maturing. And I know that Trey and Montre and Zoe and the rest of the guys will do that. They're working really hard and have a lot of pride.
Coach, how important was it for the team and for Jack to get back on track this week after, even the kicking battle and the struggles the weeks before?
Well, he's just got to trust himself. I mean, the things that he did not do well against Nebraska are all fundamental things that, 85, 95% of the time that he's kicked the ball, he's been fine with. And when, I don't know, do you play golf? Yeah. I mean, do you hit it right down the middle of the fairway every time? I don't. And, when I hit it to the right, I overcompensate, and he was pushing the ball to the right, and there's reasons why you do that. And then he overreacts on the extra point, and he snap hooks one. Sounds like a very good golf analogy. He overreacts. So he's just got to be consistent. I thought he struck the ball really well on Saturday. I thought his kickoffs gave us a chance. Obviously, our coverage was terrible, but I thought his kickoffs gave us a chance, and I thought his placements were really solid, probably the best he struck the ball all year. And I thought, Chris Fitzpatrick was outstanding. I mean, he was 13 of 13. It was raining pregame. It rained not hard, but enough throughout the game to make, a wet ball most of the game. And I thought the way that Fitzy snapped the ball was really good.
You just mentioned the coverage was not the greatest. Iowa had 254 return yards. Was it the Desmond King was really good, or the coverage was not good, or a combination?
Yeah, well, he's a really good player, but no, we were horrible. But he's a really good player, but no, we made him look like an all Big Ten return man. So congratulations to him. Merry Christmas. But no, we were terrible. We were terrible.
in the coverage.
We got our ass kicked. We lost one-on-one battles. So not hard. Not hard. Just flat got our ass kicked. So open competition in a lot of positions there. And the bad thing is for some of those guys that happened to, that's their role. And as I told them, I right now the video that they put out there, the character of our football team stinks because the character of your team is your special teams, and our two coverage units were horrible, maybe the worst that I've watched us play. And so we're playing Big Ten football. Everybody's going to have someone to block you, and if you run into somebody and get blocked and get Velcroed, you get what you deserve. So disappointing. We're going to have to look hard at the personnel as we get ready for Sparty because they're outstanding in the return games too.
Going back to Ifeadi, you mentioned he was really new to football. He even admitted, years ago that he didn't even know how to play football, how to drop back into coverage and things like that. How have you seen him mature from day one to now being a real leader for this team?
Well, I think the first sign of a great leader is a guy that can lead himself, and I think he's really matured there. I think he's very hard on himself. I think that he's his own hardest. He's a hard critic of himself, and sometimes that can become debilitating to the point where early in his career he allowed one bad play to go into a bad quarter, bad half, into a bad game, and I've just seen him as his career has unfolded, just really mature to where he's able to let some things go and just go play the next play. And I think that's something that has brought him to where he's at now in his career, where hopefully he takes that next step. We've seen flashes, but hopefully now we see consistent flashes as we move forward for the rest of the year. I'm sure it was a huge boost to his confidence because he wasn't perfect on Saturday by any stretch of the imagination, but he had some things not go well, and he still kept on battling, kept on playing, and kept on trusting in himself and his ability, and just really proud of the way he played. Really happy for him.
Anything else for Coach?
Skip? Wow. All right. Sounds good. Thank you, guys. Go Cats. Appreciate it. Have a great week.
CJ, what does it mean to be named a captain? I know you were close, and now to be able to walk out with those guys for the coin toss, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. It's honestly a big honor. Coming into this year, I felt that I was ready to lead the team. Matt got the position, AWOC got the position, Connor and AC, and they all deserve it. I was real proud of them, real happy for them. So being able to step into this position now in place of Matt, it's a big honor. I respect Matt a lot, and I really look up to him as a person, as a player. I respect him a lot. So being able to take his place and pick up that flag for him, I'm just going out there trying to represent for him and the people that he represents, but also for myself and the people I represent.
For both of you guys, what was the mindset coming into this week? I know Coach Fitz had talked about this being like a really hard week of practice. What was the mindset going into Iowa, knowing that you guys had the opportunity to make a statement in your first road game?
I think it was a big game going in, and obviously the coaches emphasized that. It was a tough week of practice, but it was a tough game. We knew it was going to be a tough game to win, and I think they just emphasized that it was going to be a dogfight the whole game, and I think it was. And they emphasized the physicality of the game and how physical it was going to be, and I think when we stepped on the field, we were ready, and everybody prepared well this week. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. Again, they said it was very physical and everything, and just the team's mentality going into this is like we're 1-3. We were 1-3 going into it. It was just do or die, and having that feeling of your back's against the wall and you have to fight away from it. So people were prepared to be physical.
Guys back here, how important is it for you this week going into another hostile environment, and now you've got a wounded team in Michigan State who's lost 2 in a row? How important is it for you guys to get off the field and get the offense on the field as quickly as possible so that you can start with a lead, I guess is what I'm asking.
Every week's important. Any time we go on the field as a defense, it's the utmost important for us to get 3 and out. So I don't think the importance raises because it was already at the top. We always have that sense of urgency, and we have to keep that sense of urgency. So it's always very important.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Flynn, I noticed when you started summer camp, there was a lot of guys, lined up to be the punt returner. And tell us a little bit about that process. Obviously, you've done a terrific job since you've won the job. Tell us a little bit about that process.
I think we had a lot of guys competing for it, and a lot of guys that were playmakers and that could have been really good punt returners. And Matt was the punt returner game 1, and then he kind of got banged up a little bit, and they wanted to protect him a little bit, so they put me back there. And everybody on the Jet team did a really good job, and I think I just kind of had to take advantage of my opportunity, and I think it was mostly the guys in front of me blocking and doing their job that helped me kind of do my job.
Both of you guys, do you guys like the bye week? Do you like having a week to rest up, or do you feel like it takes you out of the rhythm of the season?
I think there's always pros and cons to a bye week at all times. That it's good that we get to rest and we get our bodies back a little bit, especially after this week and everything, coming out of a physical game and everything. It's nice to get that quick little breath in, but also you gotta come back into practice and knock that rust off real quick and get back into stride. So obviously everybody likes a bye week and get that little break, but there are pros and cons to it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's huge for recovery and getting your body back, like CJ just said, but also what he said about the cons as well, just getting the rust off.
Also, you guys have won 6 out of your last 7 road games. Do you have any thoughts on why you've been so successful on the road?
I think.
Go ahead. No, you got it.
I think just the mindset. I think nothing really changes for us. It's just that going into the game, I think everybody's prepared, ready. The coaches just emphasize it all week, but nothing really changes from a home game to a road game. I think it's not really by coincidence.
CJ, what sort of impact has Afadi made on this team, both on the field and off it? I know he was really active this week, very vocal off the field.
Yeah, Afadi's made great impacts on both on and off the field. I'm really, really proud of Afadi, of where he's come from his younger years since I've been here, and just really proud of how he attacked this week, and it showed on the field. That was great, and I'm very happy for him. Off the field, this week not even this week, but since the beginning of the season, he slowly started to vocalize himself more, and I think it's a really good change-up to see Afadi talk, and for other people to hear Afadi talk and actually see what he has to say, and people are really respecting what he has to say too. And I think that carried over onto the field where he's out there and he gets 4 sacks, and everybody expects that from him, and we're feeding off of his energy, and it's just really great to see him come into his place and keep striding forward.
He said he woke up pissed off, and he's a guy that's usually pretty happy. Did either of you guys notice anything different about him on Saturday other than the fact that he had 4 sacks?
I mean, from the rip, before the game, we bring it up as a defense, and he was the person that came in and talked, and he really did. He was mad. He had that energy the whole time. He was laser focused, and I think he brought it into the field, and he really kept that focus the whole game, as did the whole team. But yeah.